Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be continuing into part 8 of What If Bulma Wished for a Boyfriend. If you haven't seen part 7, there is a title card where you can go check it out and see what happened in the last part, but today we'll be going into the future saga. What would the Z-Fighters be up to? What threats will they be facing? Without the androids being here, things will go down okay, right? Also, I'm on a Discord server for anyone who wants to join to talk more about Dragon Ball with me and other viewers. Maybe give us some of your own ideas of what ifs, and maybe in the future, I could do them. Check the link in the description down below. Now for today's question of the video, is from Urion Limit Breaker 8876. Hey Wrathful, I have a question for you in this video. If you were reborn as Cell from the present timeline, what would be your first action? Now if he's talking about the present Cell, which they kind of just killed off before he grew into something, then I'm dead. But if they quote unquote spare it and don't kill it, and if that was me, then I guess, you know, train up, be a Z-Fighter, be a good guy so I don't get killed. But if I was like the Cell that became perfect, like he comes back from the future, absorbs the android or whatnot, is either, there's two ways to go with this. Is either if I go with the bad route, I'll train up a little bit more so that I win, or the good guy route, which I'm like, hey, I'm a good guy now, don't kill me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, if I was born as anyone, I would just want to be good and help, you know, the main cast instead of going against them. But maybe, you know, depending on who I don't know. I mean, if I was Frieza, be like, hey, the Saints can be chill, just let them live. But yeah, thank you for the question. Something interesting, you know, I know a lot of people comment down like if I'm ever gonna do like a original character in Dragon Ball universe that I create, or if I put myself in Dragon Ball, that will be a what if I would plan to do in the future. I don't want to make any promises, but I'm gonna maybe try to do that for my 10K special. Don't quote me on this, I'm just saying maybe, because that's what I kind of want to do. But it's also I have to set up a lot of things beforehand, and I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time from then till 10K, especially since I'm starting college soon. But thank you for the question. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, just comment down any question you would like for me to ask, and maybe your comment will be picked in the next video. Without further ado, let's dive into part 8 of What If Bulma Wished for a Boyfriend. After the victory of beating Frieza, things went on as normal for the Z-Fighters, as they would continue to train, and Goku and Vegeta would each have their second kid, with that being Goten and Bra. The other Saiyans like Tarbell and Raditz would settle down, starting their own family. Slowly, they began to train less and less as they had families to care for, but also after beating Frieza, they thought things were good for now, as they were free from his rule. 3 years down the line though, Goku catches a horrible heart virus that would take his life. They tried everything. Senzu beans, the healing pod, and even the combined forces of Bulma and Paragus wasn't enough to cure Goku, as he would pass away from natural causes. This took a toll on everyone, as here they were like a big family. The people more affected by it were Chi-Chi, Gohan, Vegeta, and Raditz, as the two Saiyans saw him as their brother. Trunks would try to be there for Gohan as they are best friends, but time would continue to go on as normal as 7 more years would pass on as everyone grew up. Vegeta, Raditz, and Broly were the only ones who continued training, as it was their way to cope with the loss of Goku, but also their way of still remembering him. But it was nothing too intense, as they would only master the Super Saiyan form, but never tap into Super Saiyan 2. As for Broly, he would just grow stronger in his base form. The other fighters lived on with their lives, as Gohan and Trunks both went to school together and lived like normal humans, not ever continuing their training. Goten and Bra grew to be close friends like their older siblings. The new tournament was coming up and everyone decided to go participate in it, as they thought it would be a good way to feel close to Goku. Goten and Bra would participate in the kid division, as they did train a little bit with Vegeta and Raditz, and here I would say Goten would win here. They would still meet the Supreme Kai, as things would go on the same until they began taking Gohan's energy. Now with him being a lot weaker, they had to consume more of his energy to get enough to give to Babidi. The Supreme Kai would still hold them all back, much to everyone's disagreement. The group would decide to follow the underlings, but Trunks would stay behind to tend to Gohan. So Vegeta, Broly, Tarbell, Raditz, Krillin, and Yamcha would all go with Supreme Kai to stop Babidi. Once they arrived, Dabura would spot them as he would spit, turning Krillin and Tarbell into stone. The remaining 4 would go into the hideout, and the first 2 matches would go pretty similarly, with Raditz just taking Goku's place, but when it came to fighting Dabura, no one here is strong enough to take him on besides Broly. Knowing their only chance is if he loses control, Broly quickly taps into his Akari form without thinking, but this would heavily backfire on the group, as with his immense energy, he allows Boo to be released, and things would go down for our heroes here. With Boo being released, Broly would switch his sights on him and begin brawling it out with him, while the other 3 would fight Dabura, and with them ganging up on him, I would say it's close to an even match and maybe on their side. But when it comes to Broly, things aren't as good, as all the damage he does to Boo just regenerates. Boo is entertained by Broly for a bit, but soon begins to get bored, as even though he does grow stronger, he still isn't able to fully kill Boo, so Boo would just use his magic to transform Broly into candy and eat him. This shocks the other fighters, as this would give the chance for Dabura to deal a killing blow to Yamcha, leaving just Raditz and Vegeta, and they wouldn't stand a chance against Dabura or Boo. Gohan and Trunks sensed everything that happened, and they couldn't believe it, as they would want to go help, but Paragus stops them, saying that they would just get themselves killed and they need to hide out. Supreme Kai stands there shocked how he failed to stop Boo, as he would try to use the Kai Kai to leave, but Dabura would try to attack Supreme Kai, but Kibito sacrifices himself to save the Supreme Kai. Now, if you cannot tell yet, in this what if scenario, this is the future timeline of events. Y'all may be confused on where I'm going with this, but let me just explain further. Gohan, Trunks, Goten, Bra, Chi-Chi, Bulma, and Paragus will retreat back to Capsule Corp as they ask what is going on. With a saddened face, Trunks, Gohan, and Paragus tells them what they think happened, as they cannot sense the life energy of everyone else. Everyone would break down after hearing the news, but Gohan, Trunks, and Paragus try to stay strong now, as they are some of the last defenses of Earth. Gohan and Trunks remembered about the time chamber that their fathers used many years ago, as they would have tried the time chamber and trained in the lookout, but that did little for Gohan and Trunks, even when they stayed there for 2 years. Boo would find them as they would try to fight but barely survived that encounter, as that did not come without a cost, as Boo completely destroyed the lookout and killing Kami with it, as then they had no Dragon Balls to rely on. Years would pass on as Boo would slowly terrorize the people of Earth, as he would eventually kill both Dabura and Babidi, as he wanted to do his own thing. Gohan and Trunks would try their best with training their younger siblings, but also save any survivors they can from Boo. The situation here is much worse than the canon future timeline, as both Gohan and Trunks are much weaker than even future Gohan, and the threat is much more powerful. I would think that they could tap into the Super Saiyan form, but not fully master it. Boo would take his time destroying the planet, but would be faster than the androids. But also here, Bulma would still create the time machine, but would also have the aid of Paragus. The machine is almost done, but suddenly Boo begins to attack a nearby city with survivors, as Gohan and Trunks were currently training Goten and Bra at the time, as the two students said that they could take out Boo if they all worked together. At this point, Goten and Bra are around 16 years old and could use the Akari form. Gohan and Trunks looked at each other and know what they had to do, as they both knocked out their younger siblings, apologizing for what could have happened to them if they brought them along. They would both head to the city where Boo is at and face him off. In their Super Saiyan form, they begin to fight off Boo, but it doesn't go well for them, not being nowhere near strong enough to take on Boo, and sadly, they would meet the same fate that their fallen friends and family, as they would end up being turned into candy and eaten by Majin Buu. At this point, only Paragus was able to sense their energy disappearing as he collapses to the ground. Bulma would help him up and ask what is wrong, as a dark look on his face appears, telling Bulma the bad news. Soon, the two last fighters wake up from being knocked out and realize that Gohan and Trunks had left, as they would go over to the city that was being attacked, as all they saw was pure destruction. But they couldn't sense Gohan or Trunks, but they also didn't see any bodies. So they held hope and that they had returned to Capsule Corp injured, but once they arrived, all they saw was a sad Bulma and Chi-Chi, as Paragus was trying his best to comfort them. As when their mothers locked eyes on them, they immediately rush at them, holding them close, as Goten and Bra was the last people they have. They asked what was wrong, as Paragus would explain that their older siblings both had been killed by Majin Buu, as this news shook them to their feet, as they told everyone how they stopped them from going with them to fight Buu, and maybe if they had went with them, they could have survived. Paragus explained to the young ones that there was nothing that they could have done, as what their older brothers did was to protect them from a horrible fate, and said that now they are the last hope to save everyone, as he would try his best to train them up. He may not be strong himself, but he did watch and study a lot when his son Broly used to train with Goku, Vegeta, and the others. After a bit, Bulma would get herself together to finish the time machine, as after about another 2 years, it would be completed, and they would send Goten and Bra back in time a good bit after the defeat of Frieza. Once they arrived, they see how different Earth once was. To be fair, they somewhat remember it how it all went down when they were only around 10 years old. Not long after, they would be met with both Goku and Vegeta, as they asked them who they were, and they stood there completely frozen, as this was the first time seeing their father, well, at least for Goten, as Goku died when he was still a baby, and all he knew was the stories he was told by others about Goku, but for Bra, the first time seeing her father in a long time. Tears swelled in their eyes, but they wiped them away for now, telling them that they need to gather everyone as they have an important warning to tell them. Everyone meets at Capsule Corp as Goten and Bra explain to everyone the future threat that will come in around 12ish years, how Goku died to a heart virus and giving him the cure to the virus, the terrible fate that everyone faced in the future, and lastly, their identities. The last part caught everyone off guard, especially Goku and Vegeta, as At this point, Bulma and Chi-Chi are still pregnant with their second child. Both Goku and Vegeta go up to their future child and apologize for what they had to go through without them, but promise that this time things will be different. They also met with their older brothers, which was kinda a bit weird for them as currently they are older than them. Goten and Bra decide to stay here a while as they need to train up and figure out a way to defeat their version of Buu. They would tell the others about a being called Supreme Kai as he was the one that warned them about the threat, but it was too late for them to prepare, and if they wanted to stop Buu, they would need his help. Yamcha and Krillin came in saying that they don't know a Supreme Kai, but if they ask King Kai, maybe he will know, as they would go to see King Kai and ask him about the Supreme Kai. Now with all that settled, a huge training arc would begin for the next 12-ish years as a lot would happen. With everyone around, they would make sure that Goku would take his medicine so his heart virus would be completely avoided. Every Saiyan excluding Tarbell and Paragus would train intensely, with even Goten and Bra joining in. Knowing what's at stake, Gohan and Trunks would continue their training, and unlike their future selves, they wouldn't live a normal life, as in just 1 year, everyone besides Broly learns the Super Saiyan transformation, with Goku and Vegeta perfecting the form and starting to break the limit to try to achieve something above Super Saiyan. With Yamcha and Krillin, they would learn about the Supreme Kai and even get in touch with him, explain to the Kai everything. They will tell the Saiyans, but they said that they should train with the Supreme Kai, as they have their own power that they could make them all strong. So the Supreme Kai would train Krillin, Yamcha, but to be fair, he didn't really like the fact hearing about the time traveling, as it was against the rules, but it was for the threat of Buu, as after hearing how his future self failed, he wanted to make sure that he wouldn't do the same. So, while the Saiyans would train on Earth learning the Super Saiyan forms, Krillin and Yamcha would stay with the Supreme Kai and train with him for the next decade or so. The Saiyans would continue training every day and eventually would try for Broly to obtain the Super Saiyan form as well, with all of them being strong enough to take him down together if he loses control. It would take him a few tries, but after 2 years, Broly learned how to control his power and be able to transform into a Super Saiyan. And at that same time, Goku and Vegeta would learn the Super Saiyan 2 transformation, as now all the other Saiyans would aim to achieve that power as well. For the rest of the time, everyone would just train until the time came for when Babidi would arrive on Earth. And that's where I leave it off for now. Tell me how y'all think about the 8th part and how it did with the Future Saga. How do y'all think with how I took the story of this arc? The storyline of the future timeline being pushed into a different arc. How strong as everyone has gotten with more than a decade of training? Will it be enough to stop Buu? What about the future version of Goten and Bra? Would they be strong enough to stop their Buu? What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next part. See ya.